Pretty soon we're going to be changing our calendars from 2021 to 2022, turning the page from December to January. And around this time, we tend to think of time in a really linear fashion. We think of the start of 2021 going to the end. We review in this linear way across the months, and then that year ends and we start a new one as though it's a new piece of paper. And the Torah actually encourages us to think about time in a more cyclical way, a more circular way, like a clock, which goes around and comes back to the same point and goes around again. For instance, this week we read Parashat Vayechi, which is the end of Genesis, but we see in that ending the roots of the new beginning. So first we see a review of all that's come before, hints of all we have seen in all of Genesis. We see Jacob, who is about to pass away. He's on his deathbed, the last of the original patriarchs whose stories we have followed throughout the book of Genesis. And he is blessing his sons for their futures, those 12 sons, which will be the 12 tribes, which become the people Israel, who we then follow in the book of Exodus. And as Jacob gives blessings to each of his sons, he characterizes the tribes that will be the main characters of our story going forward into Exodus and beyond. And so we see that the story is not so much a linear beginning and ending, but rather a circle that comes all the way around. And we too might think of our lives in a cyclical way, in a circular way, as opposed to beginning and ending. Ending one year, reflecting on what we accomplished or didn't accomplish, and then heading into a new year with new resolutions, as though the two were unconnected. Rather, instead, we can think about what are the seeds that we have planted this year, which we will see the flowering of or harvest next year. And what are the seeds we planted this year that we will see sprouting in ways we don't want next year, that we might uproot next year. We talked about this in a program last Sunday we called Soul Spa, where we did an art project where we captured our inner gardens, creating a garden of the self. And here we saw the flowers that we have in our personalities, in our hearts, that we want to continue to flourish and grow, as well as some things that we might think of as weeds. So for me, I talked about the artistic aspects of my personality, the arts and crafts, the music, theater, and the writing that I do, and also the things that I would perhaps rather uproot, like the vines of insecurity or the dandelions of over-programming and busyness, etc. And so perhaps as we end 2021 and head into 2022, just at the same time as we end Genesis and head into Exodus, we can think about the cycle of time, think about those seeds that we have planted, which will carry us into the new year and carry forward throughout our lives, and figure out what we want to continue to allow to flourish and grow and what we want to uproot. So wishing you a happy new year and a Shabbat Shalom.